Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate with Ryan. As always, on a Saturday, so glad and excited to be with you in the studios. I was telling Daniel the revised studio that we're working on. And if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ryan Coleman, owner of Hometown Realty. And every Saturday, we come to you on the airways, try to bring you Real Estate with Ryan. Try to bring you a little humor, a little fun, a little excitement, talk about a little real estate. And usually my partner in crime is here, but April couldn't be here today, so she's doing some other duties, and just me solo in the studio. So thank you guys for tuning in. Busy week. It's hard to believe that the year is moving that quickly. So not long to the end of the year. We're going strong, helping a lot of great sellers and buyers achieve what they're looking for by the end of the year. We just did this new commercial, and it's coming out for the holidays, and we did a little special promotion, kind of first time ever that we were doing it, and we've got it. Hopefully, if you guys see it out there on TV and things, give me a shout out, man. Let me know what you think about it. It's a beautiful home that we've got, and it's featuring this week. It's 138 Center Park Lane out in Oak Ridge. It's just a custom beauty, rich woodwork, beautiful trim work. I mean, it's amazing. You got to go check it out. If you need to look it up, it's an easy place to go look. You can go to ryancoleman.org. But we were preparing this for the holiday. We thought we'd mix it in with, the Black Friday and everything that's coming along with the sales, the retail push. So we wanted to try to do something a little different and get a little more exposure for our great seller out there in Oak Ridge. So we hope that works. And if you see it, hopefully you can buy it or you know somebody that will. So it's been a busy, busy week. Let's see, what else? We got a great show for you guys. So we're talking about 7 mistakes when buying or making an offer on your house. So whether it's your first home, second home, doesn't really matter. Buying a home, going through the offer process is tricky. And so we're going to talk about that with Real Estate with Ryan, get a little housekeeping issues. We're not going to do any congrats today. We'll stick right to the show. That means when April comes back, she's got double duty. She helps me with all that and keeps me straight. I can't keep everybody straight. I don't want to miss anybody. So check next show. We'll have a lot of congratulations, and those are always great times. So one thing we were working this week, and I don't know if you guys have ever run into this, but if you've ever had gout, let me just tell you, it's not fun. So years ago, I had one episode. I didn't know what it was. Well, being a young man, wasn't eating right. You're stopping fast foods, you're doing different things, and you're always on the go. In our business, we're in sales, so we're always on the move, always shaking and moving, at least trying to shake and move, right? And so it's that consistent theme if you own a business of taking the time to invest back in your nutrition and your health. Well, if you're eating a lot of meat and different things like that, you'll get the good old friend gout. Well, been a pretty good year, 5 or 6 years, never had an issue with it. So all of a sudden, he came back. Well, we're trying to get rid of him. So it's been a strong week. I've been hobbling around the studios. So bear with me today. I've got my magic potion here, some kind of juice or something, but so hopefully that works. And tell me, man, have you guys ever had gout? It does hurt. Let me just tell you, the pain is real. The pain is real. But let me tell you one thing. Even in gout, even on one leg, man, I'm still here with you guys. I'm excited to be with you every week, and we're so excited you guys tune in. So I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. It's easy, as I tell everybody, it's easy to phone it in. It's easy to run a replay. But I wouldn't want to do that to you guys. I like to be with you every week, and we enjoy you guys listening. So thank you so much for staying tuned and following us for all that we do. Now, let's jump into it. So if you're buying your first home, what's the first step? You want to get a mortgage, or are you paying cash? The old saying, cash is king as the market changes. That eliminates one step. But let's talk about most people that are probably going to get a mortgage. One of the first steps you're going to start in the financing process is you want to get pre-approved. That sounds simple. That sounds elementary, but it's very fundamental. We work with a lot of self-employed people. Working with another agent just the other day, actually on a property that we're working to close. They relayed to us that we're going to put an offer in, and then the last minute before the offer can go together, guess what? They're 90 days out. They're transferred out of the country, works for an international company, and they got to wait 90 days to see if we could put this deal together. As a buyer, that never puts you in a position to negotiate. It never puts you in your strength. And so knowing your financing, knowing your situation before you get to looking, and get the wife excited, right, guys? If you get the wife excited, the kids are excited, they're picking out the bedrooms, it's hard to let them down in that process. So trust me, get your pre-approval. The lender guidelines are constantly changing, right? So make sure that we understand that process and get ahead of the game. There's a lot of new loans that are changing, and those loans are a lot of advantage, from 5 to 10 to 20% down, even some adjustable rates where the rates are very, very attractive now. Let's talk about number 2, bidding the entire pre-approval. So let's say you go through those steps. Number 1, you do get pre-approved and you're ready to go look at houses. If we're a max for 350, do we push the max? Keep in mind, just because the budget is 350 doesn't mean you can be looking at homes 360, 370. One of the biggest mistakes that you can do, maybe as an agent or working with the buyer, or you the buyer, right? Listen, I tell all my clients, right? Buyers want to get it for the best deal. Sellers want to sell it for the most money. Nothing has changed. And as a buyer, you're going to be excited. And you're going to see those properties that are maybe, if you're looking in the 350 range, you're going to be looking and say, hey, let's look at the 400s. Maybe they'll come down. Maybe it's longer days on the market. We're in a market now that may not even be feasible unless they're grossly overpriced. So put yourself in chances to win and look in price ranges that are realistic. Have a great agent that's going to walk you through that process so that you're not wasting time getting your hopes up on properties where the seller either may not even be realistic to the marketplace, or you may get your family excited, get through the door, and the numbers just can't work. So let's look in your budget range and try to look for those properties that are a good deal. Not everybody's going to be a good deal in today's market. There's not, back 5 or 6 years ago, we had those opportunities, but there's still opportunities where the properties come on the market, whether it's an estate, whether it's a divorce, right, or just a relocation that they have to move. There's still great opportunities in the market, and the buyers that are prepared are going to get those very, very quickly. But understanding, we'll go to number 3, never make the mistake of not researching the market and the seller. As a savvy buyer, one of the biggest things that you want to do is do your homework, right? The frustration is when you find something that you really want, the challenge is you may hear from your agent or from other people that the market is moving fairly rapidly and you have to make a decision. A lot of our clients want to think about it and they want to have an opportunity to go home or a couple of days. Unfortunately, to come back in a couple of days and find that house is pending. Very frustrating in the process. So when you find these properties or when your agent puts them together, make sure you have a track record. Let's look and see if the property was ever listed before in the last couple of years and see wherever it traded for. Let's also pull a copy of the tax records. They're available online. You can go to KGIS and do a little data research that way. That would help you kind of know the last sale amount that transpired. It will even tell you the loan amount, maybe what they financed, give you an idea of an expectation. Now, keep in mind, just because they borrowed X, it doesn't mean they're going to give you the house for that. Keep in mind, and that loan amount may not even be accurate, but it's a good gauge on what they're paid or what they paid in range to relation to what they're selling it for. So, for example, if we have a property that's $300,000, and we'll just let's just say a property over in Farragut that was listed for $300,000, and they have a mortgage of $250,000, and they've owned the property for 2 years. Probably a good chance that you're not going to get that much lower. Well, reverse, we go across town to Sequoia area, and they've lived in the property for 20 or 30 years, and this is the first time trading. Maybe they're going downsizing to a condo. Well, maybe there's more flexibility with that seller. So make sure you understand your numbers and the motivation. Next thing, do your homework. Get your agent to talk to the other agent. Most of our deals are done between agents, bringing people together. Find out what the reason is behind your selling. What's the motivation? A lot of times, just a simple conversation is going to help you understand what the seller is looking for, what they're not looking for, and the time they're looking for. And see if you can accomplish all that. Let's say the home needs a little bit of work, needs a little love. Is the seller realistic in their mindset on what an offer will come in at? Sometimes sellers are not, and that's a good time before you even go look at the property and waste your time and your family's time to find out that they can't even come together. So we've got the other topics right after this break. Thank you guys for staying tuned. If you're tuning in the first time, you listen to Real Estate with Ryan. And on the second half, we're talking about 7 mistakes when making an offer on your first home, or it can even be your move-up home. So we were on number 3, talking about researching the market. When we go after break, we're talking about submitting a lowball offer and how that could stop you. Stay tuned.
When it comes to the real estate market, turn to the experts that focus on you. With over 20 years' experience, Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty knows what it takes. It's the right marketing. It's the right exposure. Ryan and April will use their expertise each step as they guide you through the home buying and selling process. Ultimately, it's about results.
You need someone you can trust that is committed to you.
You have a lot of choices, but the choice is simple. It's Hometown Realty.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, man.
You found us a house yet?
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty.
He says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taken too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel. All right, guys, back with Real Estate with Ryan, tuning in on a Saturday. If you tuned in on the other side of the break or just caught us before we went to commercial, we were talking about the 7 mistakes when making an offer on your first home, second home, investment. It really doesn't matter. If you're making an offer, these are mistakes that you don't want to make. So before we get into that, we're chatting a little bit about this. I kind of wanted to, maybe I should get into rates later, Daniel. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's talk about the rates real quickly because I think that that's an important topic. We'll get into the rest of our show, but as you know, we're closing out a good portion of the year, and you know what that means. The rates are going down. That's a good thing. We have the new rates here from Wells Fargo. 30-year fixed rate, 3.75. 30-year fixed rate VA, 3.25. And then we got a 20-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.49. We get into our luxury financing, our jumbo rate financing, 30-year, 3.5. And then we've got our 15-year at 3.125. Thanks to Wells Fargo for that information. Looks like the rates, Daniel was bringing me the rate sheet and I said, looks like those rates are going down. They're really affordable. I want to say these are the rates that we've seen back when the market started changing, beginning part of 16. You don't see them that often. You don't see the market and this opportunity. We were chatting on one of our shows like last time before and talking about an opportunity of when is the opportunity to buy or sell. And I think it really becomes a preference on when you're timing, what's your motivation, what's important. But it sure doesn't hurt that when you have an opportunity where the market is, inventory is not a high across the country, we're seeing some slowdown, right? But in the East Tennessee market, we're seeing pretty good pickup. Our rates are more competitive. Our luxury or our move-up buyers can actually move up and actually sell because the financing is very competitive. So don't miss that opportunity. And let's talk about this and then kind of tie into that, making a lowball offer, right? And so number 4, we'll go into our show and telling you why you don't want to miss that opportunity when buying your house or your next home or that forever home, right? The forever home. Sometimes people think it's a forever home and things change, right? So you got to buy it at the right price and it has to make sense. I was reading an article that we're using for the show and it said buying a house isn't like haggling at a flea market. I kind of laughed. I said, so don't offer $200,000 for a house worth $250 and expect a counteroffer. I thought that was so true. Sometimes we just had some offers that come in and they're so ridiculous. Like we had one perfect scenario. This is perfect, Daniel. We can tie this in and we'll just wrap it all in one show. So you got to love it when things flow, man. But yeah, we had a great offer. This is a luxury property, and we'll pick on my client. It wasn't exciting, but it shows why you need proper education and you need a great agent in the marketplace to help you with one of the biggest moves you're going to make. So We had a great property. There's clearly value. And what we were mentioning before is two types of agents that are going to sell properties. One that just kind of slashes prices. Everything's about the lowest price, the lowest, what can I do the cheapest for, right? And then once you get into a certain product, you're selling value. There's certain value that's in this home. And once you get a certain price range or any price range, the buyer has to see the value that you have into it. But there's two ways to present that to the consumer. And if you're not good at what you do and you don't take the time to educate your seller or your buyer and you set your buyer up to win, you're going to set them up for disappointment. Not only will you insult the seller and never get a response back, but you end up losing your buyer to take them on multiple properties, to thinking, right, they're at the flea market, that they could go in and kind of haggle and offer some ridiculous price and the sellers are going to respond. Friends, we're not in that kind of market. We're one of the healthiest markets we've seen in a long time. And there's no signs of the economy really shifting much. And we're projecting in 2020 that we should be consistent. So the first thing that I would say that when you're making an offer, don't start out a lowball offer, adjust your budget. If you're looking at a $2.5 million house and you come in at 1.7, you probably are looking at the wrong inventory. You probably should be looking at properties in the 1.5 range. And that's not an insult, that's just being realistic. Because in this market, there's a great opportunity. And the buyers in that price range, it's, again, not about slashing prices. It's reinforcing value. Because where there's value, people will pay, right? So keep that in mind. So educate your client that lowball offers in this market will not work. Be realistic. Take time to do a little research. Do a little history. Now, I get it. Everybody has their own opinion, right? We deal with this all the time with appraisers, and the appraisers have opinion of value, but the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers, you can make the numbers kind of look the way you want them to look, and you can kind of finagle them, but at the end of the day, if you have a home at X dollars with all the upgrades, all the features, sits on the water, has everything you would want, it's going to get a certain value. Now, whether that buyer's today or it's in a month or two, it's going to happen. The question, are you going to miss out on your dream home or that forever home on your family by the wrong advice? See, when you get the wrong advice, it costs you. Not only does it cost you thousands, but it may cost you your home. And that was a home that made sense for you and your family, had your family that made sense, and that not only could have been the perfect deal for you, and everybody would have been happy, but it all comes down to that, unfortunately, the agent that you choose. And we didn't set them up for success. So make sure when you get with your buyers that we're walking them through the process, that we're looking at our homework. And yes, we want to get a good deal, but we can't start off negotiating in a bad position. That's very frustrating that I see on multiple. I worked on 4 or 5 offers this week, and everybody thinks because they listen to CNN or the news or MSNBC that the market's over, right? I'm telling you, don't watch too much news. Let me tell you that we're here every week and we're seeing a consistent, steady growth. Yes, there's going to be ups and downs on the seasonality, but we're in a pretty healthy market. Job employment is at its all-time low for unemployment, and the stock market is strong. That's always going to relate to the luxury market and your move-up buyers. And what else can you be wrong when you have interest rates at 3.5, 3.125? You've got an opportunity to borrow money at a really great rate. And the government's going to allow us still to write some of that as an interest tax deduction. All those things are making for a good opportunity. And while we don't have state tax here in East Tennessee, that's why we're seeing so many people come over to the Vols. They want to put that orange on, right, guys? They want the orange. Whether they like the orange and they get here, they're going to learn to love them. So we're going to make them part of the family. So keep in mind that when you're relocating the buyers out there, set your buyers up for success. Number 5, we're talking about contingencies. Don't put every contingency in the world and expect that you're going to get the deal. Of course, every contract is going to have standard contingencies, your home inspection, we're going to have your financing, and we're going to have, your termite, your radon, different things like that. But as the market gets competitive and you get into a bidding war, this happens sometimes where you think all of a sudden we get to the property, it's been in the market maybe a couple months, or in the luxury market, it could be the market year. And all of a sudden, boom, here's an offer. And guess what? Here's another offer. So be prepared to waive contingencies. But keep in mind, if you waive contingency to get the deal, you may not get your earnest money back if you find a problem later, okay? Let's go to number 6. Do you use the seller agent or a buyer agent? Well, let me tell you, if you're selling one of our properties or buying one of ours, we love you to use us. I always say, and I don't laugh, that we always think that we're the better agent when we're working with the other agent. That'd be us, and I'm not joking on that. But no jokes aside, if you want representation, we encourage buyer agency, okay? We encourage you to have somebody that's working for you, that's representing you. But get a great agent that's going to work for you and not mess up the deal. Nothing wrong going through a seller agent. A lot of time the seller agent knows the most about the property and is motivated to put the deal together and will do what it takes to make things happen. Keep that in mind. Number 7, don't let your emotions get in front of you. It's a big move. It's a big move. I'll quote my friend Dave Ramsey. What did Dave say? He said, kids buy on emotion, or kids buy on emotion. Something like that. I don't quote him exactly right that. No, kids buy what makes them feel good, right? They make them feel good. House made me feel good. Don't buy on emotions. Make sure that when you do walk through that you do get with your family and you look at the numbers, you look at the payments. Last thing you want to do is get into something that you got emotional, right? And buying real estate is an emotional deal. You get so excited and that you put yourself so far out of budget that it puts you in a bind. Remember, things happen, layoffs happen, and you want those couple months of reserves in case you get in a position where you have to change jobs or maybe even relocate. So don't let your emotions get the best of you. You guys are listening to Real Estate with Ryan every Saturday. So glad to be with you. Keep in mind, if you watch us, make sure you tune into our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, all those different places. If you want more information on this show, we'll have it to you at ryancoleman.org. And you guys know if you need real estate help, me and April and my team are here for you at 693-SOLD. Hope to see you guys next week and see you next Saturday. Take care.